what's up? I am making a video about the video game pickups and video game consoles that I picked up in Japan. I went on a 3-week holiday to Japan and came back this week and bought a boatload of games, some for my collection and some of them to really play and enjoy. Now, I had to buy an extra suitcase with some of the bigger items that I bought, so I had to lug that around, which wasn't fun, but I'm really glad that I did have an extra suitcase because I got what I'd consider a holy grail item for myself. Actually, there's a couple of things that I really like that I got. So I guess I'll just get started. Now, I started off in Tokyo, and obviously when you're in Tokyo, you gotta go to Akihabara. And I went to a couple of places. Super Potato, I didn't get anything because it was super potato expensive. But there was another place that was called Trader. I like the little bags. That's one thing in Japan, they give you so many plastic bags, so you end up with tons at the end of your trip. So try and don't ask for so many. Okay, so these are just small things that I picked up. This is Metal Gear Solid on PS1, and that was 300 yen, which is sort of $4, and that's sealed. This one I don't really know. Never really heard of the title before. It was 100 yen, so like $1.25, and it's by Squaresoft, so I thought I'd give it a go. I've got a Japanese PS2, so I should be able to play this and see what that's about. I'm guessing it's some sort of RPG, just by looking at the back of it. It's like a castle. And then I've heard about this game, but I've never played it. Intelligent Cube, and that was 100 yen as well. They plastic wrapped everything. Yeah, so $1.25 Australian. I'm down for that. Now, I drove around sort of the north side of Japan, and it was really good, really exhausting, but it's the way you can find a lot of stuff for a lot cheaper. I think it's very good pricing. It's not like rock bottom, like you'll find, a Panasonic Q for $10 or something, but there are a lot of sort of bargains to be had. I drove up north and I bought a couple of things. So Niiagata, I'm probably saying that wrong, but that's about 2.5 hours by train up from Tokyo. And I got, so at a store, which was a book off. It was a hard off. It was maybe book off and hard off, which is hard off, if you don't know, is a sort of a second-hand store. And they have a lot of video game stuff, game-wise and console-wise, a lot of stereo equipment, and yeah, just random bits and pieces. So they had 4 of these, which I got, which is the names, I've lost the name. It is the lawyer game. It's really bad. This is the lawyer game where I've watched videos on it and I was really keen to play it, but I saw the prices here. I was a bit it's about, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's, I think, about you looking at evidence during a court case or a crime, and you are supposed to interrogate people with that evidence and try and find, I think, who's guilty. I believe that's how it works. Now, I picked up all these. Each of them are actually, these 2 are 300 yen, so $3 something, and this was 500 yen, so about $6. I don't know if these are multi-language, but I saw them. I was like, you know what? I'll give it a chance. If they are, that's awesome. If they aren't, well, I've got a contingency plan for that. Stay tuned. Okay. Another thing I bought, or a couple of things I bought up north. This was like, I rented a car and actually drove out. So I got myself a golden Famicom. And it's like a tiny, I can take it out because I want to play it. It's like a tiny, come on. Oh, now you don't want to play ball. Maybe I'll just take it out the whole thing. Okay. So you get like a manual in there, HDMI cable, little gold controller, but I'll show you the little gold console. It is cute as hell. Don't fall over. Yeah, so just grab it like that. So it's pretty small, like the size of my hand. Yeah, that looks really cool. It's got a bunch of games preloaded on it, like the Super Nintendo Mini, that kind of style. Alright, so let's put that back. Actually, we'll put that over there so I can move on. But that's really cool. It's got Dragon Ball Z on the front. A couple of Dragon Ball Z games, some soccer games, and I think a couple of wrestling games and fighting games as well. And there's Dragon Quest on there too. So I will give that a whirl. What I can actually play without reading Japanese should be interesting. Alright, so let's move on, okay. I saw this and I just thought it was cool as hell. It is a Super Famicom Turbo, and I think this went into their Super Famicom, like our Super Nintendo in Australia, and you'd put it in, and then there would be games that went in each of these slots. So like you could have one game in here, one game in here, play them separately obviously. And I didn't find any of the games, which was a bit disappointing. Well, maybe I wasn't looking hard enough. I did buy a lot. But this was 300 yen, so it was like close to $4. I'm like, that's pretty cool. I'll have that on display. I won't use it. It'll just sit in my Super Nintendo. Okay, so this is cool. So they've got arcades, like where they've got claw machines and fighting arcade games, and a few of them are owned by Sega. Well, they got the Sega name in the front, and so every chance I got, I didn't steal. I asked for a bag, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. Alright, so in here, it's just so much stuff. Okay, so I bought this Game & Watch collection. I got this for 400 yen. Yep, so about $5. This is I think a combination of those handhelds, the Game & Watch handhelds that is a little bit pricey in Australia. So I thought, you probably don't need it in English because, as far as I'm aware, they were all sort of image-based games. So that's really good, I think, for the price. Now, I didn't know about the other games, the lawyer-based games. Oh, that's terrible. But this is the Switch version of game 1, 2, and 3, which does have an English translation. Now, I got this for 3,200 yen, which was around maybe just under $40. So for $40, you get 3 games included, and it's guaranteed to be in English. I'm happy with that. So whatever happens, I'll either sell the Japanese ones or see how that goes anyway. I wouldn't mind trying it on the Game Boy. Now with that Super Family Turbo, that store also had a little junk area, so that's little hard off bag. You can see those little bags. And I just bought a few things that I thought were really cool. It's Pokemon Blue, but they call it Pocket Monsters in Japan. That was 100 yen, so like $1.20. I'm like, yep, I'll grab that. This was in their like junk area, so I think things that they don't merit as perfect quality goes into this area. So there are definitely bargains to be had there. So I bought WonderSwan games, and I don't know anything about them, but they were super cheap, and I was like, I don't mind building up a collection for that, and I got like a few little cases with them too, for some of them. So that was 300 yen. I have no idea what it is. Sort of look like Sailor Moon, but I don't think it is. Emotional Jam on the WonderSwan. Sorry, that was 200 yen. This is One Piece on the WonderSwan. Again, this is Final Fantasy, and there's a clear case, which is cool, on the WonderSwan Color. That was 100 yen. So I'm hoping all these games work. I'm noticing some damage on that one, but that's okay. We'll have a look. This one's another WonderSwan Color game, and that was 100 yen as well, so like $1.25. Well, of course I'll buy it. And then this one is called Harobots, and it's got a tape on it, so I can't really take it off, but 500 yen, about $6. So the conversion rate was like, what was the conversion rate like? It was something like 75 cents to 75 yen to $1. So I sort of rounded it off to that just to make things easier. So you know when you're buying stuff, you're not overpaying. Okay, so this one, I need to show you. This was part of that the Famicom Mini, the gold one. It's just a charger as well. I think it might be additional. It came with it. Okay, so some other things that I bought with the WonderSwan games is a PS2 controller. Got this for 100 yen. I God hope it works. I mean, all the buttons feel good, and it's like translucent grey, I guess, or translucent black. So I'm gonna test that out. Should be good. And the other controller, actually, I'll save that for later. Okay, so one of the things that I really wanted to get was a PSX, and these things were made these things were made to, I think, act as more of like a multimedia system than the PS2 was, and I thought I would have so much trouble finding this thing because I've only ever seen one, and it was not in great condition, so I thought maybe these things were really rare. Turns out the first place I went to in Niiagata, when I was there, I got one. It's a heavy thing. So that's the PSX. And I got this for, that's 1,000 yen, so like $12 roughly. That's the front. Sorry, this video isn't the greatest, but it's my first video. I will learn. And that's the back. So it's got like a lot of AV ports. Looks like an antenna port. I think you put the controller in the back too. Yeah, controller. Yeah, there. So it's a bit awkward, but for $12 for something that I think is really cool, it's gonna sit on my shelf. It's heavy as. I was really happy to find that. Now, at the same hard off, I also found another item that I was gonna look for. I wanted to buy a working unit, but I saw this one and I thought, maybe I won't see another one. I did see others, but at a much higher price point. This is an ocean blue. PS2, and it only came out in Japan, I believe. Now, this didn't come with a controller, so it was a bit shattered, but it was, where's the sticker? 1,500 yen, so it was about about $18. My maths is really bad, but $18 for this. Never seen one before. I'm like, yep, I'll buy it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, bad luck. This is more just to sort of sit in my room, my games room, which would be cool. Now at another shop in Niiagata, I found some really cool stuff, and it's not necessarily not huge, but we'll get to the bigger stuff later. So I found a boxed Casio Lupi. Now this isn't that common as far as I know, and it is a console that came out, I think, in 1995 in Japan, and it had a sort of quirky feature. It was by Casio, so yeah, the Casio, the watchmakers, and it printed off, I don't know if you can see that, it actually printed off images from the TV, and you can add images onto it. So basically, if you had a video of yourself, I think you could connect this and put like a template over it, like on those photo booths where you can put like borders and stuff, and then you could print them out from the actual machine, which is so cool. That's the box there, and then on top of that, now this was a bit pricey. This was around $90 to $100, but it came with a spare roll of the printer paper, like the actual unit where you put it into the front. So that's really cool. I've got to do a bit more research on that because that's really cool. And it came with 4 games. Now, I know that the system only came out with 10 games, which is shocking, but I've got 4 of them, so I've almost got 50% of the collection, which is pretty cool when you think about it like that. So I don't know anything about these games. They are all boxed. I checked, they've got the manuals. I'm just going to whack it over here. This one's got like a clown, but it looks very artisty. Yeah. Artisty. Is that a word? I don't know. And then this one. And one more. Now this console, I think, was supposed to be to get more girls to play video games. I don't think it really worked because there were only 10 games. But that's really cool. I'm going to shelf that. I'm going to put that in the corner in my room. And I'm really sort of shocked that I got that. I found out about it on Adam Korolik, his video. And he found one, and then he found a box unit, which is crazy because I found one, then I found this, which is a loose unit, and this was around 1,650 yen, so about $20. This was just loose like this, but it also came with one of the games. And I think it was one of those games that I already had, but it's cool that I've got an extra one. But the reason I bought this, I know this is not... I asked them and they said that the unit wasn't working itself. I can have a look at it, but the reason I bought this was because it had another controller attached to the front. So I've got a Casio with 2 controllers. Now... Looking at this now, there's only one port for the controller. Yes. But if one controller dies, at least I have a spare, so I am happy about that. I will be testing the actual console out too, just to see what the games are like anyway. But I thought that was really cool. So that's the Casio Loopy. At the same place, I got a few more things. So this is a Dreamcast gun. Now this isn't for me. This is actually for my mate. I said, I'm going to be looking around. I'm going to be looking around. Do you want me to find anything for you? And he said, yeah. Can you get me can you look for a Sega Dreamcast gun? So I found this, and this was in the junk area. But everything looks sort of okay for me. Like, there's no visible signs of damage on the cabling or anything. The glass on the front looks good. And it was 100 yen. So $1.25 for this accessory, which I think is mental. I really hope it works. I'm going to give it to him. We're going to test it out with Virtual Cop. And we'll see how that goes. That's going to be very interesting. But for 100 yen, it's a good deal. I also got this WonderSwan game, which is... I can't read it, but I'm pretty sure that's Digimon. Yeah. And that was 300 yen, so about $4 to $5. Okay. Now, another thing that I bought from that store is this GameCube controller, and this was like in the new section. I never noticed this color before. It's like a teal color. And I bought this, it was $1,500, so about $16, $17. But it's genuine. They said it works good, well, from what I understood. And yeah, it's really clean. The buttons look all good. I'm really happy to get that. I'm going to use that on my GameCube. I hope it works. I'm pretty sure they're region free, the accessories. Okay. Now, where else do I... Okay. And this was another thing that I bought from that shop. This was in the junk area. I don't know if it works, but it's hella cool. It's a PS2 controller, I believe, from a game called Danger Seaman. And it was some weird game where you look after a fish, and the fish he looks like Leonard Nimoy, or he sounds like Leonard Nimoy or something. And I saw it and I was like, is this like some sort of weird third-party weird controller that no one bought? Don't know if anyone bought it, but it's actually legit, and don't know if there's anything wrong with it. I will test it out. Sounds very clicky, but we'll see how that goes. So that is just a weird find. Okay, where's the next one? Okay. So now we move on to new cities. So that was all from one city. Toyama, which is again on the sort of coast, going west of Japan, and so north, and so yeah, on the coast north, going west from Niiagata. So I found a hard off here that had some killer items. If I recommended anyone to go anywhere for video game collecting, this place and one more place after this was absolutely amazing. So from Toyama, there's another suburb or like a town called Kanazawa. And in Kanazawa, I rented a bike and I rode to a hard off. And this was like a massive one. I think it was called Off House. And Off House is like a collaboration of different hard off spin-offs, which means like, so there's book off, there's hard off, there's hobby off, there's a couple of other ones I can't really remember now, but they combine a couple of them together and they call them Off House. So if you are in Japan and you look up hard off and nothing comes up, search for Off House or book off like as in their physical names, and see if something comes up, because you'll be surprised. Because sometimes I had it where I was typing in hard off, it didn't come up, but then when I typed in off house, it would come up and it would be like a hard off with something else. So make sure you do that. That's a really good tip when you're looking around for video games. Now, the place, I got 4 things. One which I could not believe I found, but really cool. So, I don't think it belongs to this. I think it is a bit of an off color. I found this in the junk bin for 200. I don't know if it works, but I'm going to take my chance. It's in really good condition. If this belongs to this, it's awesome, but I believe this belongs to a midnight blue PS2, which is still cool. So for 200 yen, which is like $4 or $3 to $4, I will take that any day. Now, I was looking around for this as well. I wasn't able to find anywhere else. They had the number 1 version, but I found this, which is the Super Game Boy 2, and I think it had some slight improvements to it. I'm not 100% sure what they were at the top of my head, but obviously you can see by the other one, which I don't have on hand, is a grey, sort of a grey cartridge, like any standard Super Nintendo one. And this was see-through for some reason, which is really cool. And I got that for 2,200 yen, which is roughly like $26, $27. So I think that was a really good find, because I could not find this anywhere else. In the same shop, after I bought this, because I was like, I better, sort of have a look around again, and I'm glad I did, because I found a box version of the same thing. I hadn't seen this anywhere else in Japan. Like this in the box, I hadn't seen anywhere else throughout my trip. Now, I haven't opened this. I'm not going to open this. This is going on my shelf. It's so cool. I might actually have a look inside, see if there's anything cool in it. But yeah, I paid 3,500 yen, so I did splurge on this a little bit. It's around like 40 something dollars. But in the box, like this, the box could be in better shape, but it looks clean to me. I'm very happy with that. So again, that was going to the Super Nintendo, and you can put a Game Boy game into it, and it would basically mirror that game onto the screen like you were playing a normal game. Now, the killer item that I got from that store is this, and I was going through the controllers, and I was just like, oh, I'll have a look at the ones that like very back. And then I noticed this GameCube controller, and I thought maybe someone will know what it is without turning it around. But this GameCube controller is very special. It belongs to a Panasonic Q. Now, the Panasonic Q was a GameCube that was made in conjunction with Panasonic and Nintendo. I think Panasonic had got the rights from Nintendo to make one. And it was like this silver console, which I did not get, unfortunately. I did see one, but I didn't get it because it was like over $1,000, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not paying that. And I don't even think it was fully functional either. But I got this for around $90. Now, at $90, yes, it sounds very expensive. However, I did check this online, and it sounds like it looks like I got a really good deal on it, because it is the sort of Panasonic version of it, so it would have came with the console. I'm not really sure if they sold them separately or not. I doubt it. But yeah, I'm really happy to have this. I'm not selling this. This is sort of staying with me. I'm not going to play with it. But one day I will get that Panasonic Q, and yes, that will be amazing. Alright. Let's move on to... We haven't actually got much more. Actually, we do. Okay. So, in Toyama, I bought... I got it in this case, even though this case doesn't belong. PS Vita, a blue one. Ooh, there I am. This was a really good price. This was 9,000. I'm gonna say 9,800 yen, which is like 100 and I don't know. So we'll say 120 bucks, and that came with the charging accessories. I never actually haven't owned a Vita before, so I'm sort of ashamed, but this is going to be epic and I can't wait to play it. It's supposed to be the version 3000, I think. I could be wrong. This is the second variation of the PS Vita anyway. Really cool. I was going to get it in a box, but it was just a bit too pricey for me. It was like 1,300. Sorry. It was like 10,000. Sorry. It was like 13 to 14,000 yen, which was like 170. And I was like, sort of weighing it up. But I decided to just get it loose. And, you know, I'm going to play it. It's not going to be sitting there. Okay. So, at that same place, I got this, which is a Monster Hunter Wii controller. And this was 1,000 yen, so it was about $12-13. I'm gonna use this to play my Wii. Don't really know too much about it. I believe it came with a Monster Hunter console that I did see in Japan. I didn't get that. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool looking. Yeah. Alright, I did get a lot of controllers. Now, I've been collecting for the Wii U. And I do want to get a full set. I'm not super like rushing to do it. But I thought, you know, in Japan they got a lot of exclusives. So, well, when I say a lot, maybe like 20 to 30. And I thought I'd knock off a couple while I was there. Some of these were really cheap. I have no idea what the hell this is. It looks like mahjong or something. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, this was like 300 yen. It was so cheap. It was like, yeah, $5-6. This one is the Famicom remix that didn't come out in Australia. This came out in America, but I've seen the prices for it and it's like 50 to 60 bucks, I think, on eBay. This was 1,400 yen, which is like under 20. So I thought, you know what? Doesn't matter. I can't play it on my Wii U anyway, even if I got the American version, because I don't think it's region free. So I just bought this to add to the collection, and that's cool. This, I don't know what it is. I don't think it was a game that got released in Australia though. I could be wrong. This was extremely cheap as well. This was like 500 yen. Yeah, I don't know if anyone can tell me what game that is, because I don't recognize it out of the AU library. This is the Justice League game. It's called Injustice, but this did come out in Australia, but I just bought it because, one, it was pretty cheap. It was under like $10, and the cover is so much better than the Australian version. Like, look at that. Let me get that. Where's the other one? I just want to compare the two and just see how much better this art is compared to... Oh, I can't see it. I cannot see it. Scrolling. I don't know where it is. That is bad. That is really bad. Why can't I see it? Maybe I don't own it. That is bizarre. I swore I had this. Anyway, wow. That's... I wish I could show you the PAL version because this is much better. That's epic. Don't know if this came out here. Oricha 2 Hyper. This is like this is a combination of Samurai Warriors and Dynasty Warriors. So if you like any of those series, these games are really cool. I've got a couple on PAL, on different platforms, but I thought I'd buy it. It was pretty cheap as well, around the same price. This one is like a Gundam kind of game. I'm not really sure. I'll show the back. Okay, I have no idea. It says Kamen Rider Battle Ride War 2. Cool. I don't know what it is, but I bought it. Okay. Now the other Wii U titles I got. This was 1,000 yen, so this is like $12-13. And it's a boxed version with the brand new Wii remote, and the Just Dance game. Now I don't really care about Just Dance, but I mean, pretty cool to have the box and stuff. I didn't realize I bought that, and I ended up buying this as well, which was like, this was so cheap. This was 100 and something yen. Crazy. I'll also, if anyone wants to know about the places that I went to besides Book Off, because there were other places, hit me up and I'll let you know where to go for specific stuff. A couple of others. This one, which I believe is a bunch of mini games. Now I don't think it's got like a bear on it. And it says Volume 1 on. I can't really get that clear, but it says Volume 1 on there. And I was trying to find Volume 2 of this, but I could not find it. So either A, it doesn't exist, because I looked everywhere for it, or B, it's just very rare to find. So that will be interesting when I do a bit more research on that. Now, Dragon Quest didn't come out in the PAL region for Wii U, but I think there were 3 or 4 variants in Japan that came out, and I got 2 of them. So one of them is this one, and that was 3,790 yen, I think it says there, which is sort of like 45 to 50 bucks. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna jump on that. That's awesome. And then this one here, and I got that from a store called Yamada, and it was like a sort of like a JB Hi-Fi here. And yeah, I thought it was really cool. They got a little character on the side, that's really cute. And then from that same store, I'm gonna bring it up here. Oh, sorry guys. I got these. I hadn't seen these anywhere. These are Monster Hunter, the same Yamada shop, Monster Hunter amiibos. Now, I have played some of the older games, but I can confess and say I haven't played it for a long time. So I don't know what these characters are. I just think they're hella cool and the boxes are massive. So I bought that one. And this one as well. And these were like 20 bucks. I was like, yes, they are coming home with me. Hard to pack, but they are coming home with me. Alright. Around the corner I bought this, which is actually an American version of 3D Dot Game Heroes, which is a fun game. If you haven't played this, pick this up. It's around 30 to 40 bucks. If you like Minecraft, if you like... it's really hard to say. I think if you like Minecraft, you'll like this, but this is a lot more... I mean, it's by Atlas. It's a bit more of a detailed game. So yeah, I think I picked that up for 20 bucks. And I am happy with that purchase. Okay. We're getting to a couple of the better... Well, actually, the best item that I got. The rarest one that I got. Actually, that Panasonic Q might be rarer, but we'll see. I bought... Okay. Switch. Splatoon controller in the box. Now, it is used, but I got this for 4,900 yen. So under $60, and I think that's a really good deal for this. I'm gonna be using this with my Nintendo Switch, which I've been playing Octopath Traveler. So that's gonna go awesome. Okay, now with the PS1 games, I did get a couple of others. Now one of them was actually on my list to get. One of them I just saw and I was like, I'll just pick it up. This game is called Let's Go Jet, I think. Jet Go. Now the reason I bought this was, one, it was 100 yen, so it was like $1.25. And the second reason, because I flew with JAL to Japan, and this is a game that was actually released in conjunction with them. And don't know if you can see, but there were like so many cool controllers in Japan, and there was one that was like just for the plane, and it's like a flight simulator, so really cool. I'll try and play it. It'll probably be very difficult, but they love like their simulation flying games and train games. I didn't get any train games. It was so expensive. Like PS2 games that were train based were over $30-$40 just for the one game. So they really love that stuff there. The other PS1 game that I got that was on my list, that I've played multiple times, that I loved as a kid, I got a copied version of it because it didn't come out in PAL, I don't believe, and it's Drink. Now, if you're not familiar with Drink, it's a game that was released by, from Pepsi, about Pepsi, and I guess the guy is called Pepsi Man, and the game itself is like a behind view platformer, maybe more like an on rail platformer, if that's such a thing. So you're basically running and you can't stop the actual character's moving on his own. You've got to avoid obstacles. If I had to compare it to another game, maybe like a it sort of reminds me of like the Crash Bandicoot levels where you were on a, not even like, I can't even think of it at the moment, but Google Pepsi Man on YouTube, and if you can, find a way to play this. It is such a fun game, and the music is weird. It's this Pepsi Man song, and it gets stuck in your head. So yeah, it's one of the things that was on my list. I paid 3,400 yen, which is like 70 something dollars. It was the cheapest by far that I saw in Japan. In Super Potato, this was 1,000. This was basically like $150 to $160. I'm like, I'm not paying that. And I found this in the store. I took a bus, and I walked to the bus stop, not knowing about this store. And I just walked in. I saw it. I was like, I will take that off your hands. So that was really good. We're nearing the end. Okay, what else have we got here? Okay. So another Switch game that I bought was Belt Action on the Switch, which is a Capcom game, and it's a bunch of arcade games that have just been chucked into one, like a compilation. And I hear some really good things about it. I've seen some good videos on it on YouTube, so I thought I'd give it a crack. I paid like 3,100 yen, so under $40. So I'll give that a go. That should be fun. Okay, we're coming to the end. Whoops, I missed another Wii U game. Monster Hunter Tri, is it? Yeah, Tri 3G. Cool art. This was 464 yen, so like $6-7. I will take that and add that to the collection. That's awesome. Now, these last two items, it's sort of like the smallest and the biggest in terms of consoles because they're two last consoles. The first one is a very small console. I think it's probably one of the smallest consoles ever made. Let me bring it down. It has little cartridges like a Game Boy would, and it was released by Nintendo, but it's not a Game Boy. It is, I'll show you now, a Pokemon Mini, and I've got this, and it came with 2 games with it as well. It takes the cartridges in the back like a Game Boy, but it's a separate little console on its own. I think they think of it more as a toy in Japan, but like a Tamagotchi sort of style. But yeah, I saw that the library for this is quite small as well. I think it's 10 or 11 games. I might be wrong there, but it's not a lot of games. It's definitely not more than 20. And yeah, I thought, I'll start my collection on this. I'll play the games, see how they go. And yeah, I saw some boxed versions of the little games, but not many. Maybe like 3 or 4 on my whole trip. And I went to 50, I would say maybe 50 to 70 book offs and hard offs and off houses and video game stores in total. So I went everywhere. And they were selling for $60-70, and I'm like, I'm not paying that. I paid around $80 for this. So it's a little bit high because I'm not really fully committed on it, but it is pretty cool. Like, the little cartridges are really cool. I was like, yeah, I gotta get that, and it won't take up much room. Now this will take up much room. This was my holy grail item that I wanted. I found this in Osaka. I sort of got lost with where I was, but I went through Kobe, Osaka, Kyoto, Kanazawa, Yokohama, Niiagata and Toyama, and Takayama. So I did sort of go all the way around, and I could not find this thing. I wanted it loose because I was like, I'm not going to find a box version of this. It's impossible. I might just bring it down and show you because I need 2 hands on this. This one's a big boy. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This, and it's still in the packaging, is the Dead or Alive Xbox that came out in Japan. Now, everyone's probably like, oh, what's so special about that, Jim? Well, this version is, well, first thing is only 5,000 were ever made of it. It comes with the game, a controller, the console, and a inflatable. That chick is inflatable, which sounds sort of bad, but yeah, you inflate her in this it's like a sort of like a punching bag sort of thing. So it's nothing too sinister. But the main draw of this, actually, you know what? I'm going to show you guys why. So, gotta be careful with this. This one I dropped a bit of money on because it was my holy grail item when I went to Japan. And boy, that is heavy. And yeah, this was at another store. Now I can't remember the name of the store, but anyone that needs help video game hunting in Japan, go to this store in Osaka. It's in Denden Town. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get on my knees So it comes with a controller, comes with the AV cables, all that's going good. Whoops, and the receiver, there it goes. I'll take that all out. So the special thing about this one, oh my god, don't drop it. Well, if you can't tell yet, it's a blue Xbox. And then it comes with the Dead or Alive on the corner. I'll take that out of the packaging. Oh, it's still wrapped. Ta-da! So it looks like a standard one, just blue, see-through blue. And that was, I think it was called Kasumi Blue. And yes, this is amazing. I really wanted this. I like variants of consoles and rare ones at that. So yeah, that was my holy grail item. It's not the most exciting, like it's not the most sought after, I'd say, but it was just something that I saw and I was like, I've got the see-through the crystal Xbox, I've got the Halo green Xbox, I've got a standard Xbox. I was like, I need something different. Now, there were two that were looking for the smoked black, which I didn't see at all, which is like a translucent black one, and the blue one that I wanted. And this is the blue one, and I am happy, and those are my pickups for Japan. I want to make a tips video with sort of where I'd recommend to go, where I found the best video games in each town, the exact locations, and just tips on traveling, how to get from place to place, how I got some cheap luggage, a cheap suitcase, and yeah, just to help anyone out that's going there. I bought a lot of stuff, but I don't regret any of it. And if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'm more than happy to help out with anything related. Get Google Translate. That's probably the best advice I'd give you. But yeah, thanks for watching. This is not a pro video, but I will be working on getting the quality better, getting a better camera and a mic, and then I guess like laying out my videos a bit better. But this was sort of like a rough thing, and I just wanted to put everything away really. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again. See ya.